This was a small house done in a place called Malappuram. This was a small house done by my client's mother 45, 50 years back. And she saved little by little and made this little house for herself. And someday, if they shift out of Delhi and go back to their roots, they wanted a house.
So this project is about renovating?
So it started with renovation. That's an interesting story. So this house did not have any toilet or a attached bathroom when it was built. So it came to me as a renovation job. So the whole idea was to open up this entire house to the nature.
Make it more spacious.
Garden, to not increase the size of the room, but the room itself starts flowing out, to starts engaging the boundaries, start engaging the outside, start engaging with the trees and plants and landscape and enjoy the rain. And it should really flow into each other, all the spaces. So this is the existing photograph of the how it was when we took over, and this is exactly the same angle. What has happened?
This is very thoughtful.
That's the front.
Yeah, so well, right? Yeah, and I love how you integrated well into the structure.
That's right.
It becomes a part of the home.
It becomes a part of the home, yeah. And that's the back side. And this becomes like a veranda, and they pull out the chairs and stuff to sit, and that's the side. This was just a blank. You can see this was toilet was added later.
Right.
There's a buffer within boundary wall in the house. Same thing was transferred into a courtyard. This is an external kitchen. That's a seat condition here. And there is an internal kitchen here. That's a dining here. It all opens out into the space. And they all have typically grills in their windows. I said, let's not have any grill in the window. Instead, have the grill on top.
Why is that necessary on the top?
So one is this entire sense of security that they are in Delhi or Ahmedabad or wherever.
Correct.
So the theft and robbery doesn't happen. Fine. But why window? It could form an element which becomes like a pergola, which becomes like a place where creepers can grow, vegetables can grow, flowers can grow, all of that, all your bottle guard.
Visual screening from
absolutely.
top.
This is the back side. This is how it was, the facade. And this is what we created. This veranda opened up the first floor. That's a bedroom. That's a study.
Monsoon must be wonderful there.
This was during just at the time of monsoon.
And even the choice of color of the light,
and we just went for simple lights. We did not go for an LED
this suits.
Yeah.
This suits really well, like warm glow, the reflection over the flooring, really good. And these are timber or galvanized iron?
No, I don't use iron.
Okay.
This is all timber. It's a lot of it is recycled timber. So what we did was we found a supplier in Kerala, in Malappuram, who basically deals with old timber, as in they pull out old houses. They get all the old rafters, columns, joists, everything from the old houses. And you just have to go, and they are beautiful timber in good shape. They're 80 years old, completely seasoned, bone dry, not affected with termites, borers, absolutely.
Does that increase that price or?
No, it is almost 1/5 the price of the new timber.
Wow. I love these benches.
Yeah, these are all in... so this is red oxide, what you call locally. It's actually Kaawi in Kerala.
Oh, even beds are exposed to the nature.
Absolutely.
Wow. Like the door, like full, complete.
All of this is recycled timber.
2 doors per room.
Yeah.
So you can enter and exit from whichever direction to the outside.
So when I'm talking about recycling, it is not always looking for one long piece of timber. Whatever piece you give me with the traditional timber joinery, timber to timber, I just turned into one piece and we have used it.
The lamps are quite interesting.
They were made. So what you see on top, it is nothing but the lid of the pots to boil rice. It's an aluminum lid. We got the holders, got a cut, put the bulb, and we just made it. This table was made with the coconut wood, recycled.
Wow.
Which came out of the old house.
There's nice polishing. They are not smooth, right? Coconut wood. There's a lot of...
a lot of... So we had filled it up with the resin and managed this.
Like your light choices again.
So this was again, we bought cylinders from somewhere, something else from somewhere, joined them together and turned this into a light.
It must take a lot of time, right? To figure out every small element and not getting it ready-made. Like you have to figure it from scratch.
And that's the joy of it, to make it more contextual. It has to go to that last detail.
Wow.
So what you see here is a white Kaawi. It is not red Kaawi on the walls. It's white Kaawi.
So white Kaawi means that you don't add oxide.
Just added white cement to it. I made the entire thing in white cement instead of grey cement.
Okay, you save money on painting.
You don't need tiling. You don't need painting. Nothing.
Nice.
And it's smooth and it's nice.
And feels luxurious as well.
Feels luxurious.
Bathroom flooring.
Yeah.
It's quite unique.
And the floor is in timber. This is a study area.
Okay.
That floor that I added.
Nice window.
This is the staircase that takes you up. It was a ladder initially, which has been turned into a staircase. Slightly steep, but this is what it is.
Why is this necessary?
It's a railing because this is the bridge that is connecting the bedroom to the study. And that overlooks the dining. This is all I've done. One single railing, and that's about it. It did become a little contentious that what if a kid is walking, so there are no balusters to the railing. So
right, I love the finishing here. Yeah. So why did it make sense to add this elevation?
So that when the water comes on the floor, it does not affect the timber directly. Timber is slightly raised up.
Nice.
And this base is slightly at a slope. So any water that falls goes off.
So thoughtful of every small detail.
Yeah. So water, as long as the water goes away, there is no problem. If you keep the timber in contact with water for a long time, is when the chance of it rotting arises.
So which next project you want to?
So I'll now change the region completely. We can go to Kaawi House, which is in Kerala. So this was another interesting story.
Yes.
So there's this friend of mine who's so they're all Nayars who are settled in Delhi.
Okay.
And the brother was a consulate general. He's retired recently, and his sister is a dear friend and also a senior planner. This was a small house done in a place called Malappuram. And they have these tarwads. Tarwads are basically like wadis, where the entire land is owned by one family and each one have their own little piece of property, and then they build their own houses. So basically the entire, you could call it, it was an ungated community. It was a piece of land and a lot of the supari and nariyal trees close to the river or the farm or the fields. And, eventually it belonged to, let's say, grandfather, great-grandfather, and then his sons and daughters and granddaughters, and everyone started dividing the land. And that's the story. So this was a small house done by my client's mother 45-50 years back. And she saved little by little and made this little house for herself. And someday, if they shift out of Delhi and go back to their roots, they wanted a house. And the house
So this project is about renovating?
So it started with renovation. That's an interesting story. So this house did not have any toilet or a attached bathroom when it was built. Also, there was a story that when the foundation was done, because of some reason, the foundation had to be shifted. And the lady believes that the shifting of the foundation was bad omen, because of which the house never got completed. And therefore, she could never live in the house. So for 40 years, they had rented the house out to tenants. And anyways, they were staying in Delhi. So after 45-50 years, when they were celebrating the 55th year of their marriage, the parents, the kids, that is a brother and sister, decided to give this house back to them and renovate it. So it came to me as a renovation job because the footprint was only 800 square feet. And then we started designing this entire thing, and I made design presentation, and I said, look, we are talking about 40 years back when there were just two of them, your parents. Now it's you and your brother and another brother and wives and kids. And even if you get together, 800 square feet is not good enough. You also think of your own retirement, because very soon you guys will retire as well. So they got the whole idea. I said, let's not build more rooms, but let's make it look a little more spacious and make it go beyond a little bit of from the mindset of making it only utilitarian. So it should become a place of get together where all the family, grandkids, everyone can get together and spend some good time. So that's when this 800 square feet house became 2000 square feet house. From renovation, it almost became like a new house, but you can't take away the fact that it's still renovation. So unlike how it was built at that point of time 50 years back, where each room was a room complete in itself, you went inside the room, you closed the door, you would not even have a sense of what the house is all about. You were completely disconnected from rest of the house, and which is typical of most of the houses at that point of time or even before that. So if you look at since we were talking about modern regionalism, regionalism is regionalism. What makes it modern? What makes it contemporary? So with this education and evolution and enlightenment and the fact that people are growing and progressing, and there is a lot of openness and a lot of people are progressing, and there is certain amount of globalization. Also, this has affected our sense of space. We no longer want to be inside a room. Even if you look at people who come from this kind of an architecture, when they take a break or they go for holiday, they go to resorts. If you look at resorts today, typically they are what? Large glass windows, large doors opening into the pool or a water body, or overlooking the sea, so on and so forth. So why is it called a break? Why is it called a holiday? Why do they choose places of this nature typically when they choose a break? So if you really go into the mindsets, you also realize somewhere where they're staying does not allow that entire experience of the mindset vis-a-vis where they're staying. I won't say there's a conflict, but it's exactly not in the sync anymore. So the whole idea was to open up this entire house to the nature,
make it more
its
spacious,
garden, to not increase the size of the room, but the room itself starts flowing out, to starts engaging the boundaries, start engaging the outside, start engaging with the trees and plants and landscape, and enjoy the rain, and it should really flow into each other, all the spaces. And in today's time, what's also happening that everyone is so busy. There was a time when people would go for work or farming in the morning, come back by 5 o'clock before it would get dark, and they would be together. Today, the idea of being together itself has become an event. You have to plan out.
Right.
So when that happens, you might as well make it to a space of celebration.
Right.
In a way.
That's why there is more opening.
Yeah. So this is the existing photograph of the how it was when we took over, and this is exactly the same angle.
Wow.
What has happened?
This is very thoughtful.
Yeah. So this verandas came out, and all the spaces inside started opening out, and then there was this well. You can't even see it here.
Correct.
That got integrated with the veranda.
Wow.
And became like a seat condition. Now, I would probably have some pictures in the mornings and evenings. Everyone in the house has tea here.
Wow.
When they sit on this well, they sit here, and that's it. You can even lie on top of the well on this grill. Just put a little mattress there, and then it's a beautiful.
It's amazing
space.
how a small arrangement of space can alter people's behavior.
That's it.
Right?
So when you say modern, this is my interpretation of how to make it modern. Unfortunately, people, when they talk about modernism, they don't think beyond glass. They don't think beyond steel. Of course, for me, it's cleaner lines, nicer lines, uncluttered spaces, open spaces. The idea is my life is already so full of clutter, urban clutter, lifestyle clutter, routine clutter, clutter of bombardment of media in my life, that I want to be decluttered. So least I can do with my spaces is really make them very strong, very powerful, just with what's available in abundance. Like they say, best things in life are free: water, air, space, light. And so why unnecessarily try to, and that itself is so beautiful. We have lost our sense of enjoying the spaces as is. So we want something to be added to the space. We want a sculpture and ornamentation and some sofa from China and something from some curtain from somewhere else and objects. It just literally becomes like a museum. It's no longer a house. It also becomes a space to show people where you stay, how rich we are, how well-to-do we are, what our taste is, how sophisticated we are. It's important for us to get acknowledgement from people, for us to feel good about our own house. It's so
performance driven.
It is so, yeah. It's
a performance.
So superficial. Rather than that, I was fortunate that my clients have been more on my side of thinking, and they exactly express the same thing. And we could end up creating these spaces. All I did with this entire renovation was open up these spaces. That's the side. This was just a blank. You can see this toilet was added later.
Right.
There's a buffer within boundary wall in the house. Same thing was transferred into a courtyard. There's an external kitchen. That's a seat condition here. And there is an internal kitchen here. That's a dining here. It all opens out into this space.
Beautiful.
And that's it. And they all have typically grills in their windows. I said, let's not have any grill in the window. Instead, have the grill on top.
Why is that necessary on the top?
So one is this entire sense of security, that they are in Delhi or Ahmedabad or wherever.
Correct.
So the theft and robbery doesn't happen. Fine. But why window? it could form a element which becomes like a pergola, which becomes like a place where creepers can grow, vegetables can grow, flowers can grow, all of that, all your bottle garden.
Visual screening from
absolutely.
top.
So this is more than becomes an architectural element than just becoming an serving one purpose of protection or security. That's about it. And your house is completely open.
Right.
Whichever space you are in, you don't see the grill, and yet it's all protected.
So grill is only in Indian households, right? Like, do you find grills in the Western or even Asian, Japanese homes?
So grill has not so much to do with India. It's more to do with economically backward areas, where someone who started prospering, people wanted to steal away, rob away. So that's where the idea of grill started coming in. So it's as you prosper, as you grow, like now in cities like Ahmedabad, you could leave stuff on your car or bike. No one touches it. No one opens it. There's been cases where I left my car window open with a bag inside. Of course, I should not be careless about it because but till date, I have not had any issue. But it is also the same country and a place like Bombay, which is also so safe. My glass window was broken up, the car window, and my laptop was stolen at one point of time. This I'm talking about 20 years back.
Okay.
So things have changed now.
Right.
It's not the same.
So do you
anymore.
think grills are necessary in present day homes?
I don't think so.
They don't serve
In
their
fact,
purpose?
when you put grills, you attract thieves more. There is something you're trying to hide and protect.
You're signaling.
You're signaling. It
Right.
works on reverse psychology. And today, anyways, people don't keep cash at home. They don't keep jewelry at home. Everything is on UPI, net banking. You carry a little bit of cash in your pocket, and then everything happens online. So no one's really interested. Still, people go for it. A lot of people still prefer grill, and it's fine. I'm not. I mean, for me, you tell me in the beginning you want grill, and you tell me what your concern is. If it is protection, fine, I'll provide the protection. Let me design the grill. In a way, it serves your need for protection, and it serves my architecture need to. So that's where this came in. They wanted a grill, and I could convince them, let's have this grill. That'll, instead of putting grills on all these doors and windows, I'll just put one grill and takes care of the entire thing. And it turns into an element.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Now, these are the elements which are traditionally not there.
Oh, there's no grills on the windows and door. Okay, nothing. Brilliant.
So there's a grill in the front door, there's a grill behind, and there is a grill on top.
I liked also the, what do you call that, jelly flooring?
Yeah, it was just a simple jelly that we just spread across instead of making any paving or whatever. Right. It also allows the water to percolate and go into the ground. This is the back side. This is how it was, the facade. And this is what we have created. This veranda opened up the first floor. That's a bedroom. That's a study. And this veranda is where your little lounge, which turns into a guest room. Another bedroom opens out. Yeah.
Okay, you were able to add the extra room here, right?
They add a little bit of, because this is where the roof goes down. Here I've taken the roof up and added a room here.
Nice.
Just changing the roof, and the spaces completely got transformed.
Right, and you added extra space as well, right?
These are all verandas. So, and on a 800 square feet footprint, we just added a veranda all around. So that gave what I was talking previously about the layering.
Correct. And these are timber or galvanized iron?
No, I don't use iron.
Okay.
Wood. This is all timber. It's a lot of it is recycled timber. So what we did was we found a supplier in Kerala, in Malappuram, who basically deals with old timber, as in they pull out old houses. They get all the old rafters, columns, joists, everything from the old houses. And you just have to go, and they are beautiful timber in good shape. They're 80 years old, completely seasoned, bone dry, not affected with termites, borers, absolutely.
Does that increase that price or?
No, it is almost one-fifth the price of the new timber.
Wow.
And you pay another some money to ask them to clean it up, as in they remove the old nails and this and that, and that's about it. And then you...
What's your obsession on old timbers?
My obsession is, first of all, timber is a very... expensive material today. Second thing is, what are you doing to get fresh timber? You're cutting trees. Each tree takes 20 years, 30 years, 40 years to grow. Secondly, what's happening with the old timber? Why are they being thrown away? Old houses can be demolished, I understand. But why can't it be recycled? So just to give you an idea, today if I buy a brand new jackwood of a good quality, it costs me anywhere between 3,000 to 3,500 rupees at CFT. I could buy the same old jack for 1,000 rupees.
150
old
price.
one third. Then I add another 500, 800, 1,000 rupees. That is on a very high side to clean it up. So, for example, if you order one timber, you would say 4-inch by 4-inch piece by 7 feet long from a sawmill. Here, I might not get exactly 4-inch by 4-inch by 7 feet. I might get 9 feet by 4-inch by 6-inch. So I'll have to cut it. So this entire process of cutting it, sizing it, cleaning it might cost me another 500-700 rupees. So still for 1,800, 2,000, I've got a clean, seasoned piece of timber which I've recycled.
Sustainable and cheap.
Absolutely.
I mean, cost-wise, economically.
And it works much better because there's no expansion, contraction, because it's seasoned.
Right.
And it belongs to the region.
What do you think is the lifespan of those timbers, of the refurbished or reused timbers?
It is as long as a fresh timber is.
Okay. So do you treat it with some chemicals to strengthen it? Like, do you play it with structural like compaction or something like that?
Nothing. So there is only one issue with the old timber, that it loses pretty much most of its oil content. So the flexibility it gets a little brittle if you're using thinner sections. So as we understand in terms of the structure, if you use old timber, use it in compression. In other words, if you use it like a column, nothing will happen. It can last for as long as you want. If you use it in like a beam, like a joist, like a rafter, then the size matters. So for example, a fresh timber would be 5 inches. Old timber, I would make it about 6 to 6.5 inches to get the same strength. Absolutely no problem.
So
I have used it for 20 years now, starting in Goa to the houses I've done in Kerala and Mangalore. And it has... So that is the time they were 100 years old.
Right.
Then you add another 20 years to it.
So do you see like used timbers lying around here which are unsold and there's absolutely no demand?
No buyers, because it involves engaging with the wood. It involves engaging with the carpenters. It involves engaging with
work.
Nobody wants to work. Not because people are not keen. There are other factors. Clients
so
don't want to pay.
Supply of used timbers, but there are no buyers.
No buyers. So what these people do is they end up turning the same wood into door frames and windows and selling the same door windows for whatever price. So as a finished product. Okay. I've used it for structure. I've used it for cladding instead of veneer. I've used it for furniture. I've used it for flooring. And it has worked fantastically well.
Nice. I love these benches.
Yeah, these are all in... so this is red oxide, what you call locally, is actually Kaawi in Kerala.
What is the origin of it? Where did it really originate? Did it originate in Goa or Mangalore or Kerala?
It is the cheapest flooring at some point of time.
Right.
Where you had cement or lime. In the olden time, they had in Rajasthan or even Malappuram Palace, they have black flooring. It's made with lime.
Right.
And in Rajasthan, it is the same thing with white lime. And they add little, and even plaster. So this is little different than Sandla because they're in multiple layers. And it takes long time to polish it. They do one layer after another layer after another layer, then use a stone.
Which one, Kaawi?
The lime floor. And they go on grinding it to get the same polish. Some point of time when the lime started getting replaced with cement, people started using cement as the flooring.
Correct.
It was at one point of time you could get a flooring for 3 rupees a square foot with the labor and material.
Wow.
Now it has gone up to 300 rupees.
With cement.
With cement.
Okay.
And they apply the same process in some of the cases. They take a stone and they go on rubbing it to get the polish. There are specialized craftsmen in Kerala. So there's this church in Thrissur where the priest took the local boys 50, 60 years back who were not good with studies. So he taught them carpentry, fabrication, masonry, stuff like that. So those who were good with studies, he put them in the school. Those who were not good with studies, he taught them these skills. So one of the guys I came across when I was doing this house was called a guy by name Joy. So Joy and a bunch of 30-40 people were taught by this priest. And this is what he would do apart from his duties at the church, that he would teach these people. He is one of those few surviving craftsmen who do this entire flooring. It is so smooth that if you're wearing socks, you would literally slip over it. As smooth as Italian marble.
Wow. Kaawi flooring.
Kaawi flooring. And no polishing, no stone rubbing, nothing.
Just hand.
Just hand, and not even curing. They hardly even cure it. Maybe few times, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 days, they sprinkle water over it, period. He'll come at the end of it once and apply some polish with his cloth, with his towel or whatever you call it, mund, and dipped into maybe a little bit of coconut oil once.
Okay.
It's been done 8 years back. Till date, it's smooth. You just have to wash it, clean it, mop it.
Still doesn't lose its color.
Nothing. I have not seen. I thought I was an expert in cement flooring. I was, because I've really specialized in this entire finish for many, many years. I've done a lot of experiments.
But
and
when
then I came across this
Joy,
guy.
you questioned your qualification.
No, and when I came across him, I felt, there is no comparison. This guy is another level altogether. It just made me realize, there is so much to learn. And unfortunately, today he's not exploited. Fortunately, this house became a portfolio project for him, because before this house, he was just called to do government projects where no one's there to look after, supervise. They would just tell them, yeah, this is a classroom. Just go and do the cement flooring, because it's the cheapest flooring. He would go doing no acknowledgement, no one patting your back or appreciating what you were doing. And he was doing it for to earn his bread and butter.
So what is the scenario after this project?
And there it was just flooring or something.
So how did this, first of all, this project went and got its recognition?
So when we did this entire house, and then client was also of the opinion, I was also of the opinion, let's go with red oxide flooring. Then we hunted for someone who could do it. We discovered Joy 1 kilometer away from the main house. And then we got him to do this entire thing. And that's it. When this got completed, it became a success. Locally, there were always a word of mouth that was spreading around, because this was one house, instead of Italian marble and sandstone and vitrified tiles, it was using this traditional floor. People who belonged to the region, who still had connections with their ancestors or forefathers or their old houses, they started coming and looking at the house. So first was a success.
House became popular in the local
region.
Right.
Then, of course, it got published. Then I had a couple of lectures. I spoke about this house. So it got published widely.
Nice.
And that's it.
So Joy is...
So it became a success story for Joy more than me. After that, he started getting work left, right, and center. And now there are agencies who don't name him, but they're advertising on Instagram that if you want this kind of a flooring done, come to us.
Okay.
And it's so sad. Least you can do is at least acknowledge it.
Right.
But that's the case with a lot of these people.
You should keep a personal assistant.
Absolutely.
Right. Monsoon must be wonderful there.
This was during, just at the time of monsoon.
And even the choice of color of the light,
And we just went for simple lights. We did not go in LED
this suits.
Yeah.
This suits really well, like warm glow, the reflection over the flooring, really good.
And the whole idea was eventually it should merge with this landscape of Kerala. Because around, if you see all these old houses, Mangalore tiles, white color, red ox, it's the same, right? But once you go inside, the entire sense of space is completely different than a typical Kerala house. Kerala house, like I said, is very conservative. The whole typology is very different. It was appropriate for its time. It has not changed. This house, keeping pretty much the same palette of materials in terms of conception of space, changed the entire thing.
Appearance.
This was the reinterpretation part.
Oh, even beds are exposed to the nature.
Absolutely.
Wow. Like the door, like full, complete.
All of this is recycled timber.
2 doors per room.
Yeah.
So you can enter and exit from whichever direction to the outside. Why did you give the grill kind of?
So this is a louver. It's a wooden louver.
Okay.
It allows the breeze to go through and through, because this is opening into the garden behind.
Right.
So there is no grill provided. It gives you that safety, but allows the breeze to come in. Here, if you can see this grill door, when you shut it, this is completely protected. So that's why I could afford to have glass doors here. So in monsoons, I could shut the door, enjoy the rain, and still not get wet.
Wow. The wooden work, the joints are brilliant.
And most of this timber that you saw there is not one piece. It sometimes there are 2 pieces, 3 pieces added together to make it one piece. So when I'm talking about recycling, it is not always looking for one long piece of timber. Whatever piece you give me with the traditional timber joinery, timber to timber, I just turned into one piece and we have used it. It doesn't look like 3 pieces.
So do you also look for timber craftsmen who can give us such a smooth finishing on, like to make it look like one piece?
I have not been so fortunate as much as I looked for them. So I made do with whatever carpenters came my way. I worked with them. I initially taught them. I myself learned from people. We made mistakes. And then finally, some of this is done by UP carpenters, not by Kerala carpenters. They came from Goa. They were UPites and they came and worked here.
Wow. You have a good network of craftspeople.
Yes, I do. So I do have people coming from various parts. Quite a few of them are UPites. Some of them are Maharashtrians and also Bengalis.
Do you think South Indians are not well versed with the timber work?
They're extremely well versed. They're very good, but they don't want to work. Most of the Kerala people have gone to Gulf.
Right.
And somehow it's a dying craft.
I feel timber is going to come back.
It's come back, but it's coming back in a very high cost. For example, some of these Kerala carpenters are there, but they do only temple architecture. They only do architecture for church or mosque, where there is money. It kind of compensates them for their work.
Right, hard work. So why these are the openings, or
this is a external kitchen to basically a kitchen to clean non-veg. Whenever they cook chicken or fish or whatever.
Okay.
So it's an external kitchen. Most of the Kerala houses has an external platform and internal. So it's meant for that.
For the food preparation.
Right. It is also used for like a counter, like a serving counter. In case when people sit outside and eat, this becomes like a serving counter.
Right.
Also, I mean, they don't drink, but once in a while, any tea, coffee or whatever. So it becomes like that.
Nice.
That's the front.
Yeah. So well, right? Yeah. And I love how you integrated well into the structure.
That's right.
It becomes a part of the home.
It becomes a part of the home, And that's the back side. And this becomes like a veranda, and they pull out the chairs and stuff to sit and, So it's more like a morning veranda, evening veranda, depending on time of the day. Most of these lamps this is that staircase.
The lamps are quite interesting.
They were made. So what you see on top, it is nothing but the lid of the pots to boil rice. It's an aluminum lid. We got the holders, got a cut, put the bulb, and we just made it.
So where did you get enough lids?
From the shop close by, a utensil shop in Malappuram.
So these things you don't plan out. It occurs to you. Okay.
And also, I'm kind of little fed up of this typical run-of-the-mill light fixtures available in the market. Also, it does not, first of all, it does not really go with the architecture here.
Right.
Most of these things are they probably apply more to or more appropriate for interiors like corporate offices or banks or, but not for houses. And the palette is very limited, what's available outside. But more than anything else, you don't really require. See, if your focus is on the light and not light fixture, then the 80% problems are solved. Most of the time, people want to look at the light fixture that should be interesting rather than the light that it's emanating, because it should look good in their interiors. It should evoke that wow factor. So, unfortunately, that's the focus.
Where does this staircase lead to?
So it goes to overhead water tank. So there's a staircase that takes you to this space. This is a library, and that's the overhead water tank. So instead of using this like an empty hollow space, we turned this into a library. This table was made with the coconut wood, recycled.
Wow.
Which came out of the old house.
There's nice polishing. They're not smooth, right? Coconut wood is a lot of.
So we had filled it up with the resin and managed this.
Like your light choices again.
So this one again, we bought cylinders from somewhere, something else from somewhere, joined them together and turned this into a light.
It must take a lot of time, right? To figure out every small element and not getting it ready-made. Like you have to figure it from
and
scratch.
That's the joy of it, to make it more contextual. It has to go to that last detail.
Wow.
So what you see here is a white Kaavi. It is not red Kaavi on the walls. It's white Kaavi.
So tell me about Kaavi flooring.
So Kaavi flooring is nothing
I don't know anything of it. I can just see the look of it, like red. I don't know how it's made. What is the process of making it?
So it's very simple. You apply a coat of plaster and while it's wet, in other words, while it is not cured completely, because for any plaster surface to cure, it takes about 7 to 8 hours. So you apply a coat of plaster, but before it cures completely, you apply a fine mix of cement with a mixture of sand and cement, essentially. It's like a slurry, but little pasty.
And it is really important to get that mixture right. Ratios right.
And then you apply it on the rough surface, and then you go on smoothing it with the trowel. This is typically how they achieve a cement flooring. This is exactly what they do for waterproofing in the traditional methods of water tanks inside of the water tank. What they call as gutai in north. So they go on applying it with the trowel, and this is nothing but cement finish. That's about it. So if you go on adding any oxide to it to get a red, blue, green, yellow, brown, you could get any of these colors.
So you add oxides to that mixture of cement. Okay.
And maybe you can lighten the cement slightly by adding little white cement to it, so that after it cures, anyways, any cement surface turns grey. It doesn't look as dark as it appears initially. So when you apply any oxide to it, it'll give you that color. It's as simple as that.
So the secret of nice Kaavi flooring is on the mixture of right mixtures and how you apply it.
So in this particular case, it is the application more than the mix. Anyone can give you. So anyone can write you a method of how to go about. Like I can explain you in the best possible. I can give you 1 hour, 2 hour lecture on Kaavi and IPS. What is also called as IPS
that is
floor.
Book knowledge. This is intangible.
And I can tell you I can even differentiate between a good cement flooring and a bad cement flooring, or done well or not done well, or what might fail it or what might make it success. But I can't do it. Joy can.
Right. Just like kneading a dough.
Absolutely.
Like, you can just watch a video, but to make a bread, you know how to mold the bread and
Absolutely. So this is where the difference comes in. But this is the best finish you can have. Like, for example, I didn't need tile in the bathroom.
Even I'm rethinking, like if I were to build my home, I wouldn't go for tiles and marbles.
You don't need.
Just red oxide flooring.
Even the tiles in the bathroom, you don't need tiles.
Quite sad that the trend Mangalore lost red oxide flooring.
Unfortunately.
Even my own house, like the previous house, we had red oxide flooring. Then we had to put it tiles, and now that calls back,
and it's coming back at a high price.
Okay. Why the cost is high this time?
Because number of people doing it have reduced. Cost of living has gone up.
People.
Yeah.
There is no training institutes. There's no transfer of knowledge from one person to another.
Earlier it was a need. Now it's a luxury.
Right.
So luxury will come at a cost.
So white Kaavi means that you don't add oxide. Just
I added white cement to it. I made the entire thing in white cement instead of grey cement.
Okay, you save money on painting.
You don't need tiling. You don't need painting. Nothing. Nice. And it's smooth and it's nice.
And feels luxurious as well.
Feels luxurious. This is a study area.
Okay.
That floor that I added.
Nice window.
This is the staircase that takes you up. It was a ladder initially, which has been turned into a staircase. Slightly steep, but this is what it is.
Bathroom flooring. Yeah. It's quite unique.
And the floor is in timber.
Why? This is quite interesting. So water permeates. Wouldn't it affect the timber?
Absolutely not. You have doors, you have windows on the external facade, and it takes the rains. Has it affected ever? And how much time do you take a shower for? 2 minutes, 5 minutes? Anyways, the water is not falling on it. Water is falling into the tub or the shower area.
Okay.
Even if the water falls while you're drying yourself or whatever, nothing happens to the wood.
But wouldn't there be any fungus later once there's moisture?
No, absolutely not. See, it will require same amount of maintenance as any house requires. So long as you go on maintaining it, there is absolutely no problem.
Love the. Why is this necessary?
It's a railing because this is the bridge that is connecting the bedroom to the study, and that overlooks the dining. This is all I've done. One single railing, and that's about it. It did become a little contentious that what if a kid is walking, so there are no balusters to the railing. So this house is completely in another region, another landscape, a different climate zone, different history, different material. Nature of the house itself is very different.
Right, I love the finishing here. Yeah. So why did it make sense to add this elevation?
So that when the water comes on the floor, it does not affect the timber directly. Timber is slightly raised up. Nice. And this base is slightly at a slope. So any water that falls goes off.
So thoughtful of every small detail.
Yeah. So water, as long as the water goes away, there is no problem. If you keep the timber in contact with water for a long time, is when the chance of it rotting arises. You drain it off, no problem.
Right. Didn't your client think using refurbished timber as a supporting column would be risky?
No. Now they are convinced even more because it's been 7 years. The house got completed 8 years, and they can see everything is intact except paint needs a recoat. The flooring requires a bit of cleaning up. What's also happened is after the house got completed, the brother was a consulate general in
Delhi,
outside India. He's been away for a few years. Sister has been occupied with work. So now they intend to come back and refurbish it again. That's it. See, any house, if it is not occupied, is the worst you can do to any house. You need to attend to it. You need to clean it, mop it, broom it, clear the cobwebs. That's all you need to keep it in top condition.
It's surprising. Even if you go on a trip, even for a week, and when you come back, so much has changed, right? Like dirt and every
cobwebs,
everything. Yeah.
So that's all it needs. If you are not using it for months together, years together, it'll take its toll. Nature will take over.
Right.
So
this is your 3D.
This is a physical model.
Okay. So
this was done
what's unique is I see you put a lot of focus in topography as well. The elevation and you blend it with the elevation. You don't alter the elevation.
No.
That's the beauty of it.
That's
part of modern regionalism.
It has to belong to the place. It has to belong to the region. So that's the most critical part.
So this is your most popular project out of
all? No, I mean this I was fortunate to get this project. It's the first project that actually got completed in Kerala, though we had designed a few. Nothing took off on site.
Right.
And so that continues my saga of a lot of incomplete projects which are completed.
I'll come back to that.
Yes.
I've researched about your work. You also have mentioned that, you mentioned that you don't discriminate between finished project and unfinished project. You take them seriously, both of them. True. So I'll come back to that later. What's the philosophy in the second episode?
Sure. More than happy.
Let us finish the portfolios.
Sure.
Come to my personal favorite project of yours.